For nearly 2 centuries, men from every corner of the globe have fought under the French flag. From the colonial era to today, here is every firearm used by the legendary Legion. To kick things off, here is assault and battle rifles. M2 carbine. The French Foreign Legion carried this select-fire carbine through the jungle campaigns of Indochina, where its compact automatic capability suited the dense terrain. Then, FN-FAL. Adopted during the Algerian War, its 7.62mm round was well suited to the long engagement distances of the desert. FAMAS F1. From the Kolwezi raid in 1978 through Chad and beyond, this distinctive bullpup became the defining rifle of the late Cold War generation. Colt M4A1. Special units operating in Afghanistan and the Sahel utilized this carbine for its modularity and compatibility with the special operations community they worked alongside. FAMAS Valorizé. Fitted with Picatinny rails, the updated FAMAS allowed Legion soldiers to mount the optics and tactical lights that modern operations in Mali and Iraq demanded. FN SCAR-L. Deployed for operations in the Sahel, this modular rifle offered high reliability in extreme dust and heat during the African theatre campaigns. Now this is the HK416F. Adopted as the standard rifle to replace the aging FAMAS, it brings German engineering and a proven gas system to today's operations across 3 continents. Continuing with sniper and designated marksman rifles. Lebel Sniper. Modified examples of the Lebel provided marksmen a precision option during the Great War, extending accurate fire into the no-man's land between trenches. Springfield M1903A4. Supplied by American forces during the liberation of France, snipers used this bolt action during the Italian campaign and the push toward the Rhine in 1944. MAS 4956 MSE. This designated marksman variant bridged the gap between rifleman and sniper for the Legion during operations in Africa through the 1970s. FRF-1. France's first purpose-built sniper rifle, equipped marksmen from Algeria through Djibouti, replacing the improvised solutions that had served since the Second World War. FRF-2. The thermal sleeve on the barrel prevented heat mirage distortion that made precision shooting difficult during the rifle's service with French forces. Now this is the Barrett M82. Anti-material teams carried this 50 caliber rifle to disable vehicles and detonate improvised explosives during operations in Mali and the Central African Republic. PGM Hecate 2. This French-built 50 caliber rifle gave Legion snipers a domestic alternative for long-range anti-materiel work across the Sahel and Middle East. PGM Ultima Ratio. Counter-sniper teams deployed this precision rifle for the deliberate engagements that characterize peacekeeping operations in the Balkans and Lebanon. PGM Mini Hecate. Lighter than the full Hecate, this rifle provided extended range capability in a package compact enough for mobile operations in the Sahel. HK417. Adopted as a squad-designated marksman rifle, it extended the effective engagement range beyond the standard HK416F in Afghanistan and Mali. SCAR HPR. The precision variant of the SCAR replaced older designated marksman systems in Legion units. Its modularity suited to current varied environments. Moving on to submachine guns. MAS 38. Units in Indochina carried this compact submachine gun through the dense jungle, where its short length was a major advantage over full-length rifles. Up next, Sten Mark II. Received through British supply channels during the Second World War, these were used across North Africa and during the Italian campaign. M3 grease gun. American supplied after liberation. The M3 served in Indochina, where its simple construction allowed for field repairs without specialist tools. Thompson M1A1. Troops fighting in North Africa and Italy during the Second World War valued the Thompson's stopping power in close urban fighting. MAT 49. Purpose-built for paratroopers, this submachine gun's folding stock allowed it to fit inside aircraft equipment bays and became a signature Legion weapon during the Algerian War. HK-MP5. Special operations units and close protection details adopted this German submachine gun for the hostage rescue and counter-terrorism missions of the 1980s. Next on the list is light, medium and heavy machine guns. Hotchkiss MLE 1914. The principal heavy machine gun throughout the First World War, it provided the sustained suppressive fire that held defensive positions across the Western Front. Then, Shosha. Issued to infantry in 1915, It gave squads their first mobile automatic fire capability, despite its well-documented reliability problems. Now this is the BAR M1918A2, American supplied to the Legion after 1945. The BAR served as the squad automatic weapon during the early Indochina campaigns. Browning M1919. Mounted on vehicles and fired from tripods throughout the Indochina and Algerian conflicts, it provided the sustained firepower needed for defensive perimeters. FM2429. The standard squad automatic weapon from the Rif War through Indochina. It proved reliable enough for both colonial campaigns and conventional warfare. Browning M2, mounted on vehicles from Algeria to Mali across 7 decades. Its 50 caliber round remains the standard for engaging technicals and light armor. Bren gun, British supplied to Free French forces during the Second World War. It served in North Africa and continued in some units into Indochina. AA-52, the primary general-purpose machine gun from Algeria through Chad. Its unique delayed blowback mechanism proved dependable in sustained use for the Legion. FN-MAG. Gradually replacing the AA-52, this Belgian-designed machine gun has been deployed on every major operation since the 1980s. FN-Minimi. Its lightweight and belt feed capability transforms squad tactics from Kosovo through Afghanistan, giving every fire team a sustained automatic fire option. Up next, AA-NF-1. The updated NATO caliber variant of the AA-52 bridged the transition to standardized ammunition as units increasingly operated within NATO coalition structures. Next up, Handguns and Sidearms, Revolver, Le Faucheur. Officers carried this pinfire revolver during the campaigns in Mexico and the early conquest of Algeria, marking the shift away from percussion pistols. Revolver, Model 1873. The standard officer sidearm for the Legion from the Franco-Prussian War through the Tonkin campaign, it was among the first centerfire revolvers issued. The next one, Revolver, Model 1892. Its side-loading gate cylinder made reloading faster than the previous model, serving officers in Madagascar, Sudan, and the early years of the First World War. Next, Colt M1911. Supplied through American channels during the Second World War, it remained in use among some NCOS into the early Indochina period. Ruby pistol. Produced in large quantities during the First World War, it armed officers who could not be supplied with the standard military revolver. Unique Model 17. Officers and specialists carried this compact pistol during the Second World War and into the Indochina years as a personal defense weapon for Legion service. Mac 1935A. Designed to replace older revolvers, this semi-automatic was carried during the fall of France in 1940 and by those who continued fighting with the Free French. MAS 1935S. The simplified wartime production version was issued during the final years of the Second World War and continued as a secondary sidearm into Indochina. Now this is the Mac 50, the standard sidearm from Indochina through Algeria and into Chad. This 9mm pistol defined an entire generation of soldiers across 3 decades. Next, Glock 17. Adopted as the current standard sidearm, it replaced aging weapons as the 19-round polymer pistol matched to modern operational requirements. Hamas G1. The French license-built Beretta 92 served Legion units from the Gulf War through Afghanistan, offering a significant capacity improvement over the Mac 50. HK-USP Tactical. Special Operations and Close Protection units adopted this suppressor-compatible pistol for missions requiring discretion from the Balkans to West Africa. 6-hour SP-2022. Issued to administrative and support personnel, this polymer-framed pistol served the broader military through the 2000s. Moving on to bolt-action rifles. Lebel, Model, 1886. The standard rifle. From its adoption through the Great War, the first smokeless powder repeating rifle gave French infantry a decisive early advantage. Mousqueton Berthier. Cavalry and mounted units in North Africa carried this carbine, its shorter length essential for Legion soldiers who spent more time in the saddle. The next one, Springfield M1903. American supplied after 1942, it served alongside French rifles during the North African and Italian campaigns and the liberation of France. Fusil Berthier. Issued during the First World War to supplement the Lebel, its clip-fed action was faster to reload under fire, despite its modest 3-round capacity. Lee Enfield SMLE. British supplied in North Africa during 1940 to 1942. Its 10-round magazine gave equipped soldiers a rate of fire advantage over Axis opponents. Berthier MLE, 1907. 15. The 5-round magazine version, issued from 1915 onward, significantly improved Legion infantry firepower during the grinding fighting of the Western Front. Now this is the M1917 Enfield, American supplied through Lend-Lease. Some units carried this robust rifle during the Second World War when French production could not meet demand. Lebel R35. The shortened carbine version of the original Lebel equipped mounted units and rear area troops in the years immediately before the Second World War. Then, MAS-36. The final French bolt-action rifle entered service just before the war began and continued as a standard weapon through Indochina and Dien Bien Phu. Up next, MAS-36 CR-39. Paratroopers, jumping into Dien Bien Phu and over the Suez in 1956, carried the folding stock variant, which collapsed to fit inside equipment bags. Next on the list is semi-automatic rifles, RSC M1917. Issued on the Western Front in 1917, it was among the first semi-automatic rifles deployed in quantity by Legion forces in combat. M1 Garand. American supplied from 1943 onward, it gave soldiers in Italy and France a semi-automatic capability that bolt-action opponents could not match. M1 Carbine. Paratroopers in Indochina valued this American carbine for jungle fighting, where weight and length mattered as much as firepower during ambushes. MAS 44. Developed during the liberation of France and issued to select units, this rare rifle established the design principles for future semi-automatic models. MAS 49. The standard Legion rifle from 1951 through Algeria, it was the first French-designed semi-automatic issued in significant numbers. MAS 49-56. The shortened version became a definitive rifle of the Algerian War, carried by paratroopers in Suez and through the early years of African deployments. Continuing with anti-tank weapons, rocket launchers, and recoilless rifles. M18 Recoilless Rifle, American supplied in Indochina. This 57mm weapon gave infantry the ability to destroy bunkers from a practical carry weight. M20 Recoilless Rifle, jeep mounted across Algeria and early African deployments. This 75mm weapon extended anti-armor reach without requiring heavy tank support. M20 Super Bazooka. Carried by anti-tank teams in Indochina and Algeria, this American rocket launcher was the primary shoulder-fired answer to armored vehicles. Milan. Legion teams deployed this wire-guided missile throughout the Cold War, in Lebanon and the Gulf War, to defeat Soviet-supplied armor. LRAC F1. Replacing the aging bazooka from the 1970s onward, this French-designed launcher served across Africa and Lebanon. Apelas. Issued to infantry from the mid-1980s, this disposable launcher gave individual soldiers a credible capability against modern main battle tanks. Next, AT-4. Adopted alongside French systems, the AT-4 provided interoperability with NATO partners during operations in Afghanistan and the Balkans. Erix. This short-range guided missile was deployed in the Balkans and Lebanon, where urban combat demanded high precision in confined spaces. FGM-148 Javelin. Units in Afghanistan carried this American missile for its fire-and-forget capability, allowing the Legion to engage Taliban fortifications from safety. Acheron MP. The current anti-tank missile system, it replaces Milan with a fifth-generation weapon capable of engaging targets beyond line of sight. Let's move on to shotguns. Remington 870. Units use this pump-action shotgun for breaching and close-quarters operations during urban fighting in Central Africa and the Middle East. Mossberg 590A1. Adopted for its military specification durability, this shotgun serves in the entry and clearing roles central to operations in Mali. Benelli M4. The semi-automatic capability of this Italian shotgun suits the fast-moving, close-quarters situations Legion soldiers face during hostage rescue operations. Moving on to melee and edged weapons. Glaive. Model 1831. Carried during the founding campaigns in Algeria in the 1830s, this short sword served both as a weapon and a working tool. Now this is the bayonet chassepot. The Yataghan curved blade, issued with the chassepot, gave infantry a formidable close-quarters weapon during the Franco-Prussian War. Then, bayonet gras. Its distinctive T-shaped cross-section gave this blade exceptional rigidity during the bayonet charges common in the 1880s. Now this is the bayonet labelle. Called Rosalie by Legion soldiers on the Western Front, this long needle bayonet was the last resort weapon of trench assaults through the armistice. Bayonet Berthier. Shorter than the labelle bayonet, it was issued with the Berthier carbine to mounted troops and was more practical for close fighting in colonial theatres. Now this is the Poignard Le Vengeur. Trench raiding parties carried this double-edged dagger during the Great War for silent, close-quarters work in the darkness. Bayonet MAS 4956. Issued with the definitive rifle of the Algerian War, this bayonet was carried by paratroopers until the independence of Algeria in 1962. Now this is the bayonet FAMAS. Its wire-cutting capability allowed soldiers to breach obstacles without dedicated tools during rapid Legion assault operations. Bayonet HK416F. The current bayonet, issued with the HK416F, continues a tradition stretching from founding campaigns to today's operations across the Sahel. Next up, rifle and standalone grenade launchers. VB Rifle Grenade Launcher. Introduced on the Western Front in 1916, this cup discharger gave infantry sections their own grenade projection capability beyond throwing range. HK269F. The standalone grenade launcher provides an explosive option for engagement distances common in the Middle East. Next up, grenades and hand explosives. F1 grenade. The standard defensive grenade of the First World War. Its cast iron body fragmented into lethal shards that defined trench fighting for the Legion. Mark II grenade. American supplied after 1942, the pineapple was thrown by troops across North Africa, Italy, and into Indochina. OEV-37 grenade. The concussion-focused design meant paratroopers could throw this during an assault without needing overhead cover in the Algerian countryside. Next, DF-37 grenade. Its fragmentation sleeve produced a predictable casualty pattern, used for defensive positions from Indochina to fortified lines in Algeria. LU-213 grenade. The preformed steel ball construction of this current grenade delivers consistent fragmentation that earlier Legion designs could not guarantee. Now let's look at infantry autocannons and light artillery. Cannon D 37mm MLE 1916. Issued to infantry units on the Western Front from 1916, this light gun gave platoons direct fire against machine gun positions. GIAT M621. Mounted on helicopters and light vehicles across Africa, this 20mm cannon has provided fire support since the Chad conflict. Tarask M693. Deployed on armoured vehicles in Lebanon and Chad during the 1980s, this system provided combined air defence and ground fire support. GIAT M811. The 25mm cannon is a staple of French armoured vehicle armament, utilised in various weapon systems and infantry fighting vehicles. Continuing with mortars. Stokes mortar. Adopted late in the First World War, this British-designed tube established the mortar as an organic infantry weapon fielded in every conflict since. Next, Brandt-Mlé, 1931. The standard battalion mortar throughout Indochina and Algeria. This 81mm weapon provided essential indirect fire support. Then, Brandt-Mlé, 1935. Light enough for infantry sections to carry into the jungle, this 60mm mortar gave platoon commanders immediate fire support. Then, M2 mortar. American supplied in Indochina, this 60mm mortar supplemented French designs for Legion units through the fall of Dien Bien Phu. M1 mortar. Supplied through American channels after 1942. This 81mm mortar served in Italy and continued in the Indochina infantry. MO60 RT. The current light mortar provides platoon-level indirect fire across the Sahel, where the range suits modern engagement distances. MO120 RT. Heavy mortars provide battalion-level fire support across operations in Mali, delivering the largest rounds organic to infantry units. LLR 81mm. The standard Legion battalion mortar from the 1980s onward, this system continues in service across current Sahel deployments, ending with muzzle-loading and early breech-loading rifles. Fusil Model 1822. This percussion smoothbore was carried during the earliest campaigns in Algeria, beginning in 1831, much like the weapons of the Napoleonic Wars. Fusil Model 1842. The percussion cap conversion replaced unreliable flintlocks, proving its value during the conquest of Algeria, where wet weather often disabled older systems. Then, Carabine Model, 1853. Issued to light infantry in Algeria and the Crimea, this shorter carbine was designed for troops who needed to move quickly. Chassepot Model, 1866. The Legion adopted this revolutionary bolt-action needle gun shortly after the Mexican expedition. Its rate of fire dramatically superior to muzzle loaders. Grasse Model, 1874. The first metallic cartridge rifle to arm the force, it was carried during the Tonkin campaign and remained in service through the Rif War. Now this is the Kropatschek Model 1884. Its tubular magazine gave infantry in Tonkin and Madagascar a repeating capability that single-shot opponents could not match.